Vandal, the last tower that was ever released in the dead Roblox game, and a tower defense. Surely, a tower that requires you to beat one of the hardest maps in the game to unlock is supposed to be very good, right? Unfortunately, no. Vandal is not all that good. But what does she even do? This video is the answer to that question. Let's get straight in. At base level, Vandal shoots the enemy 3 times really fast and then takes a break for almost a second before shooting the enemies again. This kind of attack is called burst. That's why there's a burst count and burst break in the top right of the screen. On top of that, each of her shots can deal splash damage, so she is really strong for the early game. Until wave 5 that is. Yeah, I would say that this tower is 1 or 2 tiers below Wizard in terms of early game defense. She will need a lot of help in harder maps. Level 1 doubles her DPS just for 400 cash, yet she still struggles to kill the normal void somehow. Level 2 shortens her burst break, but she is still not that much better for defending. Level 3 is when she really gets good with her brand new occasional pain bomb. That is very good for the armored void, the large void and the heavy void during the 20s. And then we get to level 4, which is horrible. I don't know if this is a bug or something, but she just doesn't seem to be good enough for how much she costs. Like, look at this. Does this look like something that costs 11 grand to you? I mean, her damage does increase greatly according to the wiki, but her performance just doesn't match her stats at all. Like, seriously. At this point, it is safe to assume that Vandal is not supposed to be a main DPS tower, just a sub DPS tower. But then, aside from her humble damage capability, what else could she provide for the loadout? Well, you will see in her level 5, which grants her the cute bot ability. Her cute bot will target the strongest targets automatically, regardless of Vandal's target setting above the sell button. Enemies that are hit by this cute bot will be slowed down, includes the massive voids and excludes the bosses, and turned more visible. This one has no exceptions. This ability is one of the 2 things that is capable of slowing down massive voids, and it is also the only thing in the game that can slow down the Inferno decoy in the Ghost Pepper challenge. Now, what does more visible mean? Does it mean this ability can reveal hidden enemies? No, it means that the enemies become fatter, as in the hitboxes will be stretched vertically. You can actually feel the increased hitbox by moving your mouse or tapping on your screen if you are on mobile, relatively close to the enemies. You will see that the HP bar appears before even your cursor or your finger is even on top of the enemies. Now, how does that help your loadout? Well, towers can attack from further away, resulting in funny visual stunts like this. But how is that different from a normal range buff? Well, bigger enemies' hitboxes mean that they will touch the beam from accelerators more often. This loadout is the one that this guy used to beat the literal hardest map on the entire game on Grandmaster mode. You see, oftentimes you only place accelerators in a straight line because if the beam is too far off the track, it won't damage the enemies. But with fatter enemies, no matter if the beam is straight, gay or lesbian, a lot more of the beams will damage the fat enemies. This also applies to Hikari, by the way. You don't need to worry about her beam missing with your terrible micromanagement skill anymore. Yay! Well, that was long. But how about her level 6? Will she get better? Of course she will. Her damage is now monumentally increased because she doesn't take breaks between attacks anymore. For better measurement, her boss damage is now 1 tier higher than Max Bomber. Not only that, she can take care of the flighty voice during the 60s in the Ghost Pepper challenge as well. That's not everything, as her ability now deals percentage damage over time to the affected enemies, except for bosses of course. But this is still great to take care of the final voids at wave 80 in the normal game mode, though this percentage over time damage has a cap of 2500, so don't expect her to carry you to wave 1000 or something. There's still one more thing. She's now occasionally throws out some mini version of her ability, which is not that useful considering that there's only 3 or 4 large enemies on each board each wave in the late game. But free stuff is still free stuff regardless. Everything sounds great until you realize each Inferno boss has 3 Inferno decoys. Not only that, the boss also spams tons of magma minions, and not to mention the bulky enemies in the normal waves. The only truly good thing about this tower is the boss damage and slowdown on massive voids at max, which is the main reason why she was used in Kill Hill Grandmaster in the first place. The increased hitbox is just a bonus because the boss hitbox is quite big already. The beams from Accelerator are guaranteed to be hitting the boss if you just place them properly. Vandal is unfortunately another potential tower that is only good on paper. It will take several more balanced patches for this tower to be good, but this is the confirmed final update already. There is generally no hope for her. Quite underwhelming for the final tower of the game if you ask me. But she is not entirely useless, just don't use her as a carry. I mean, she can still deal decent damage with the right setup, which takes a lot of effort. She needs a lot of stalling towers because she suffers the same small attack hitbox syndrome like Gunslinger. She will be overwhelmed if enemies move too fast or are too spaced out or both. In Master Mode or below, you can only either use her for the very early game or for the massive void in the final wave. As for Grandmaster Mode, you can either get her max level from second boss or the third boss. Accelerator is her best teammate like I explained in the previous section, but support towers like Beacon, Alien, Bloomer and Iceguard are always welcomed. She is not picky when it comes to gardens. It can be stalling gardens like Hayaka, Rika or Cassie, or economic gardens like Theresa and Mela, or DPS gardens like Vera and Hikari are fine too because they kinda benefit from Vandal's hitbox scratching ability. And that's it. I don't know what more can you do with this tower because I tried everything that I could think of. The takeaways of this video are: Vandal is not a carry tower. Her first 4 levels are not that useful, and level 5 is only useful because of her ability. But her max level can do good boss damage, at least 1 tier higher than Max Murmur. Vandal's ability can make enemy hitbox larger, which is kind of good for accelerators and Hikari. Damage over time and slowdown from ability are all kind of useful, but not for bosses because they are immune to the damage over time and slowdown. But the slowdown is the only thing in the game that can slow down the Inferno decoy, so keep that in mind at least. And that's everything that you will need to know about the final tower in Area Tower Defense. Goodbye and see you on the garden part of the series. So pent up, I was coming home to you. Happy in the night time, holding at the noon. Sipping on a cocktail, drinking in the loom. There's something about you I hold on to. You've got my eyes, you've got my eyes. You'll never be mine, but you've got my eyes. When you lie, I cover it up. When you hide, I cover it up. When you cry, I cover it up. When you're blind, I cover it up. When you lie, I cover it up. When you hide, I cover it up. When you cry, I cover it up. When you come undone, I cover it up. They got it, they want it, they give it away. They got it, they want it, they give it away. They got it, they want it, they give it away. They got it, they want it, they give it away. When you lie, I cover it up. When you hide, I cover it up. When you cry, I cover it up. When you come undone, I cover it up.